and thank you for joining the Burmester press conference. Like I just said already, we would like to keep it short and informative. Not bothering you with too many informations, but at the same time, of course, we are inviting you to go into any kind of deep conversation, discussion, uh, talk about all the products and all the subjects that we're bringing. I would like to bring um, the main changes across that we are preparing for this year. As you know, it's the last year in Munich, and the show is moving to Vienna, which I personally like very much because Vienna is a gorgeous city and it's a music capital in the world. So I don't see anything wrong with that. But nevertheless, Munich has become a bit of a living room in the whole industry, right? It was the meeting point where everybody met for decades in the meantime over the past, I think it's more than 20 years if I'm not wrong. So it's also like there's a crying eye, and of course that comes with it. And we wanted to leave with a bang, and this is why we have prepared a whole new product line for the show, and that we are introducing it right here. But it's I would like to underline that we are not shipping it right now. We will ship it during the second half of the year, but this is really the world premiere of the new reference line. I'll give you some more information about that in a minute. But there's more changes. New products are the obvious thing. Um, that's visible to everyone. That is kind of what everybody expects. Burmester is a family-owned company, as you know, and there's one thing that I would like to point out um, here when it comes to how do we preserve Dieter's legacy while we have to get the company ready for the future. And well, if there is something like future-proof, how do we assure that we are prepared for whatever is coming? And part of that is that when you read in our industry or in generally any industry, you can see a lot of big brands moving from one investment company to the other investment company. And it's always only about selling a brand and handing over a brand. And what happens behind that, what happens with the substance of the product, as I used to call it, um, is not always clear, and it's not always to the better. And also in our industry, you can read a lot about investments from wherever in the world into established brands, and I love to see those strong other brands. It's not, I don't need to be, Burmester doesn't need to be the only one. It would be bad to be the only one being independent, but at the moment that's the case. Burmester is one of the very few major brands that is still 100% family owned, and of course there are exceptions to the rule. Don't get me wrong. I know there's others, but what we want, instead of having someone investing at Burmester, is we would like to invest. We want to invest to ensure that we can keep the promise that we are giving to our customers for decades, which is handmade in Germany, which is in enormous reliability in all our products, which is, of course, exceptional craftsmanship when it comes to how we do the finish of our products. And then when it comes to a positive cliche in terms of German engineering. And this is why Burmester has decided to buy one of our major suppliers over many, many years. BLB Electronic is a company that is based in Berlin. They're extremely experienced in not just testing and analog development, so they're adding quantum or capacity to our needs and in what we see. But what they're particularly good at is that promise of a handmade product. They use German PCBs, they assemble them by hand, they do handmade pieces that match industrial standards when it comes to quality and reliability. And this is a big part of what made the Burmester products big and well known and appreciated for the reliability. And BLB has become a part of the Burmester group. That is important to me to line out because it's the other way. It's against the trend to say it that way. At the same time, it's not only about hardware, of course. Another extremely important part nowadays with our products in the whole industry is software. Everything is software driven. The real touch point is not the device anymore. For many years, it's the software and the way you use it. It's the user experience. It's the user interface. And Burmester has invested a very significant amount in building up a very good crew in software engineering. We have our own app developers, we have our own firmware developers for the devices. Everything, or most of the things, are done in-house. And we are launching a brand new software for the 232 during this show, which will make it it's not visible to the end user. There will be more features added coming with that change, but we'll put the whole platform, or we use a whole new platform to run this device and the future devices, and they are developed in Berlin. And that combination gives us the opportunity to do what we're doing here in Munich this year. What I call the bang is we are replacing an entire product line. The 909 is, especially in Asia, is a very, very established product. It's almost an iconic product in some parts of the world. The 077 preamp is going to be replaced, and the 175 turntable. And all these components are the successors. As you know, the names are always numbers, so it might be better to talk about that later, just instead of just throwing around numbers. Like I said, you're more than invited to speak with us about everything. We prepared nice informations for you, of course, and we're even more looking forward to personal conversations. But what we have here is, as you know, not the pinnacle of what Burmester does, because the signature line is the biggest product, but for us it is the most important product line when it comes to business. The reference line is the most sold product line in our portfolio, and we are replacing the whole line, which some people might think is not that clever because we are taking a lot of risk, but we have seen what happens when we took the 911 out of the portfolio and have replaced it by 216, 218, so the other current power amps in that segment. And we realized that people loved it because they could sense, yes, that was an excellent power amp, but you guys are going the next step. And it was a few months back when I read an interview, and there was a criticism about the industry, saying that it's a pity and that it's costing credibility to the industry, that many manufacturers only change the product name, or they might do some changes in the housing or the way it looks, but basically it's the same product. We do not only change the design, which is already a big step for us, because people say you should never ever touch the design. Burmester should stay the way it is. We did touch it, and people obviously appreciate it very much. But nothing inside those units has anything to do with the predecessors. Everything has been developed from scratch, and a quick look into the power amp shows you that it's also a very beautiful and well-structured piece of engineering when you look at it. And for those of you who know the 159 from the inside, you can see that those massive copper parts that we're using in there that have a huge impact on damping factor and everything, that kind of technology and others are used inside those power amps, which is why the weight almost doubled, even though it looks more elegant, I think. And what we did at the same time, saying or showing a new reference line, bespoke has become an extremely important subject to us. A few years back, we have introduced that individuality. Now, it's not about customizing, it's about inviting the customer to say, look, if you have an environment at home that you want your system to match with, because we know it's a lot of gear that we have to place there, but make it match as good as possible with your environment at home. We want to invite you to just come up with your ideas. And nevertheless, we know we have to inspire people. Okay, what does that mean? You know, when you just open every door, they don't know where to go through. So we had the fantastic chance offered by Porsche to use this special edition of a Targa that was launched in April to inspire the new reference line for the bespoke program. That means we use the original green lacquering of the car, but I wanted to show more than just a lacquered unit, another lacquered unit, which is why the dark black or matte black GT stripe is going around the frame. It's the original fabric from the seats. It's the original leather that is surrounding the seats that is used for the decoration panels. The golden elements are being picked up because the car, since it is a 1970s vintage edition, has a golden Targa and Porsche emblem. So we're picking up all these elements and included them in a very nice way in that system that you see outside. And nevertheless, in spite of all that, it's all about sound and the way we want to experience our music. And over many, many years, Burmester has been a company that has engineered the device, has put it in a box, has shipped out the box, and that was it. But it's so much more. It's the experience, that is, the musical experience is so much more. And a few years, as you know, a few years back, we started the Pure Sound project. And moving to Vienna with this show is a fantastic opportunity, because what we do here is we're not using vinyl discs, it's not pressings of famous recordings, but we have access to the Universal Archive, and we had the chance to use the Oscar Peterson Trio album, this particular album, and do master cuts from that original tape. So every single individual recording is cut in Vienna. We do that in Vienna. And the quality is outstanding. We are about to start selling those discs. There's more information also, again, in a personal conversation. But the really exciting thing is, and that's why I said, let's use that one. You know, it's not about making people roll their eyes saying that, okay, Oscar Peters never heard that on a high-end show. It's because of that. Because there is a lot of very good recordings and pressings of that album. And I said, let's use that and show people that you can even raise that bar. This is exactly why we started with this album, which is supposed to become a collection of legendary albums. And I would like to have my colleague Philip to introduce you to the first track of it. Like I said earlier, we know that you guys have other appointments, so I have full understanding if you have to leave. Nobody should feel forced to sit down and listen if you don't have the time for it now, but we would like to listen to one track. And like I said, if you have questions, we are all there and we're happy to talk to you now, later, tonight, during our evening, whenever you want. And I know that there's a lot of information that you would like to hear, but like I said, let's do that in a personal conversation. And so thank you for listening so far, and enjoy. To provide the products to all the markets worldwide.
All right, so now we'll continue with another few songs. If you have the time, please feel free to stay and have another listen to one or two songs.
Sure.
Seit 2 Jahren eine Backup-Produktion in Nizza.
Ja, wenn ich könnte, würde ich fürchten. Also selbst mit BMW fahre ich.